Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join us on this webinar today. The topic we'll be covering will be streamlining success, the core reasons to embrace configuration management. Before we get started, I wanted to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Greg Collins, and I'm the Product Marketing Manager for Progress's WhatsUp Gold. I'm also joined by my colleague, Ekaterina Boniva, who's a Senior Technical Sales Engineer here at WhatsUp Gold. Given an overview of what configuration management is, why configuration management is important, and how it works within WhatsUp Gold's IT infrastructure monitoring solution. I'm going to keep my sections fairly brief as they're mostly theory-based, but I'll then pass the reins across to my colleague Ekaterina, who'll give a practical demo of configuration management, followed by a Q&A session at the end. Okay, so let's kick it off. I want to start by answering the question, what is configuration management? Essentially, at its core, it's the centralized management of network device configurations. So I suppose an easier way of thinking of it is, anytime you go into anything and start playing around with the settings, that is configuration management. So the aim here with configuration management is to set up, establish, and maintain a consistent set of configurations for performance, functions, or even physical attributes. This is essentially what's going to make sure that your systems actually work. So, for example, if your network, servers, or data centers weren't configured properly, issues will eventually begin to arise within your system. So because of this, one of the main goals of configuration management is to keep everything configured properly and not have any unwanted surprises. I'm sure we've all been there when we go in to check how everything is going, assuming it's going great, and it's just not as we expected, and the alarm bells start to kick in. Well, configuration management can help give you peace of mind on this side of things. Another benefit I want to highlight with configuration management is that it also works as a version control for IT infrastructure and software. So it gives an overview of how your environment is currently configured, and also if any issues arise, you can easily revert back to the previous version, making sure you're not stuck on the latest incorrect version. Okay, so now that we know what configuration management is, I suppose the next question I have is, why should we care about it? Well, there are a few valid reasons to care. Obviously, organization is a big one that comes to mind first, but the three that I'm going to focus on for this presentation are security, compliance, and automation. So from a security perspective, it's imperative that you know when changes are actually made within your network. When a configuration gets modified or changed, that usually means that something is gone wrong or amiss within your environment. Either someone made an error, or worse, someone gained access and changed the configurations to make it easier for them to get in again at a later date. All of the above that I mentioned are security risks and could leave you vulnerable for a breach in the near future. So it's important you keep on top of this. And because of this, one of the main reasons to have everything configured properly is to keep the system secure. If you have open ports or passwords are set up with the age-old default admin or password, again, that's the sort of thing that configuration management is designed to prevent. Compliance also goes hand in hand with this. Configuration changes can result in failure to comply with regulatory standards like PCI, GDPR, or HIPAA. These can obviously vary depending on your specific industry, but they're just a few to note. And as an IT or system admin, your job is to make sure everything is configured to meet internal or external regulations, as well as to be compliant with them. So having these safeguards in place is a huge benefit of configuration management. And to be honest, it'll also make your life a lot easier. And the last point I want to touch on here is automation. Configuration management is a massive time saver because it automates everything. You don't have to go to reconfigure the settings for every switch or router manually. This also removes any possibility of human error. When people are doing these monotonous, repetitive tasks, inevitably human error will come into play. So it's important to put these processes in place to make sure you can counteract that. Also, having the ability to hit one button and the configuration being applied across the board is going to be a massive time saver. So we've covered the what and the why of configuration management. Next up, I want to touch on how WhatsUp Gold can actually help. So at WhatsUp Gold, we have a configuration management add-on that's designed specifically to help people like you, IT and system admins, monitor and manage their network configurations. So one of the things that it does is it allows you to archive and store network configurations while keeping them in secure and encrypted repositories. So if you take a look at the screenshot I have here on the right-hand side, it shows archived and current configurations. So by highlighting the areas that are changed, it makes it easier to zero in on specific areas that look out of place or may require additional investigation. It's also easy to make bulk changes automatically in WhatsUp Gold. So, for example, if there are password changes or patches that need to be implemented across the board, instead of doing it all manually, this will save time while also preventing the human error that I mentioned earlier on. Another of the real values this add-on gives is the sophisticated alerting and notifications feature. So getting alerted when something changes will make it much easier to keep on top of your environment. We're all aware that administration needs to account for every single change, whether it's been approved or not. Or if you ever get audited, you need to show when these things actually happened. And configuration management will not only notice this, but it'll also alert you on whichever communication channel you use, whether this be Teams or Slack or email. So what's great is that all of this is actually tracked and reported upon. You can also schedule automatic scans to make sure that there's nothing new and nobody's made any unwanted modifications within the environment. Next up, as I mentioned before, compliance is a big part of configuration management. There's a ton of different reports that can be automatically generated. There's also no need to set calendar reminders anymore, as regular audits can be delivered automatically to the auditors via email. You also have the option to archive them. And finally, and arguably the most important, setting this up actually allows you to keep on top of what's going on in your specific environment. So by automating configuration and change management, you can eliminate the repetitive tasks that we all hate doing, while also having peace of mind that you're still in control of your network. And with that, that was the high-level overview of WhatsUp Gold's configuration management add-on. I'm now going to hand it across to my colleague Ekaterina, who will delve deeper into the configuration management with a practical demo. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And over to you, Ekaterina.
Thanks, Greg. What you are going to see now is the WhatsUp Gold interface. And if you already have in place WhatsUp Gold, that means that you are on the track to monitor the entire network infrastructure. And what we have done with the configuration management is go beyond the monitoring of the infrastructure, the network device availability, interfaces, and so on. We have created the configuration management in order to be able to not only monitor the devices, but also to being covered in terms of backing up the network configurations, being able to roll back configuration in case of error, in case of human error, in case of device failures, for any situation. Also, the configuration management extends the capabilities with its different libraries, pre-configured options. As Greg has mentioned before, we have different policy libraries so that you can also be sure that your devices are compliant for different medical record, privacy of medical records, financial information, and so on and so on. There are different industry standards that are applied and present in the library, and also numerous scripts with which you can automate configuration changes. Configuration management allows you also to create different templates in the settings and the configuration management different options libraries. You have a template library which allows you also to create a ready-to-use templates where you can just go to the template library, pick up a configuration that you want to apply. It's a generic configuration that you want to use directly. Let's say, for example, you need to substitute device or just to add additional devices to your network. You just pick the template, you apply it to the desired device, and you are ready to go. This makes it easier not only to backing up, being able to roll back, manage configurations, also the substitution of devices in case of failure, in case of adding new devices to a network. So expanding the network makes it really more easier and not so time consuming in terms of needing to configure the devices, the different devices if you need to add them. Also, additional functionality of the configuration management is the possibility, so we're just slept. over, okay? The possibility to manage not only configurations in terms of adding users, passwords, and manage configurations like running entire scripts, but you can also manage your VLANs, your trunk ports, and all of that just easily from one single interface. So that means that you can just pick up the device where you want to change the VLAN port configuration to and do it right away from the WhatsUp Goat interface. That means that you have your user or another user that is configured to do so, that is has the rights to do so, and everything is within one environment, controlled, monitored, and secured. That's one of the options. Many different reports, as also Greg said. So these are some of the pre-configured reports, configuration archives, which means that WhatsUp Goat is doing a backup of your network infrastructure and is having in archive these backups, allowing you, if you pick up a device that you need to restore a configuration for, you just can go to the device tasks and pick up an archive and then just restore this archive into the device configuration. WhatsUp Go to ask you how do you want to restore it, as a running or as a startup config. But the point is that it's so straightforward and easy, because every archive is associated to the correspondent device. If you are not sure which archive you want to restore, you can pick more than one and just tell WhatsUp Go to compare it for you, so that you can see if there is differences between the archives. Or you can also use the functionality of comparing as a report, so that you can compare startup versus running config and see directly if there are changes between the startup and the running config for a certain device. WhatsUp Go will show you directly if there are changes, the number of changes, and exactly where in the command line the changes are. And I can easily move forward and see and compare for myself which archive content is different from the other, startup config is different with the running config, where exactly, and if I need to move to a different archive, I can also do it easily. Same goes for different device. So the idea of the configuration management is to allow of the WhatsUp Go to be able to act as a backup for the entire network infrastructure, to keep in archive configurations, to be able also to give you the opportunity to search within the WhatsUp Goat configuration management backup archives, using also different strings, different keywords. That's an option that the configuration management archive has, so that you can easily find the exact archive and match the exact archive that you are searching for. You have also a configuration management task log and history, where you can see exactly what has been done on which devices and the result of every task. If there is an error, why it is failing, it's a script error, and so on. So you have everything in one interface, totally under control. Again, the configuration management has the policy audit option. That means that WhatsUp Go will monitor not only the configuration as it is for configuration changes or unwanted changes and accesses, but will also monitor when we go to the policy library. You're going to see that WhatsUp Go comes equipped. You don't need to configure them. They are already there when you enable the configuration management. So protect the credit card holder data, Security Management Act, privacy of the medical records, and so on. These are all policies that you can run the audit directly against different devices. You can include or exclude patterns. You can use it as a template and amplify the policy and create additional policy for yourself or your company. But the idea is that WhatsUp Go tries to ease this type of work and ensures the compliance for those policies. Then this can be run as policy from which the result you are going to see in a separate compliant report. And WhatsUp Goat keeps this in memory. You can go back in history, so you can see the result of this report 1 month ago, 2 months ago. If you need to see exactly history when some changes has been done, this can be achieved through the configuration management reports. When we come to configuration management capabilities, there are not only limited to audits to configuration management tasks and to be able to back up the configurations. The archive search, as I said before, allows you to search for keywords, search patterns. You can use also regular expressions here, and you can find the desired archive, which then you can apply to a certain device. The CLI settings library will allow you to set SSH or telnet accesses, to modify them, and most of all, to secure the access to the network in the way that can be compliant to the company security policies. The file transfer settings are here in order to allow you to use SFTP, TFTP servers so that you can push different type of commands from there. Then you have the remote client settings, which also allow you to modify the different accesses to the devices based on the security policies of your company, and the system script library, which comes equipped with ready-to-use scripts. They're really numerous scripts ordered in alphabetic order that you can directly apply to the devices, and you can also import scripts. There is the option to directly import custom scripts or whatever are the needs, so that you can from here apply them to one device, group of devices, or to the entire network portion that you need to apply and manage. So as you can see here, there are scripts present to add passwords, edit passwords, add users, modify users. So basically all the day-to-day tasks that are related to the network devices can be achieved with running the scripts from the configuration management interface and keeping everything within one single interface, so that you can also have a track of what has been changed on which device. And as Greg said in the presentation, all the capabilities of WhatsUp Goat of alerting, so the alerting capabilities of notification policies, and so on, are present for you to be used with the configuration management, together also with, if a certain event occurs, there is a configuration management task which can state backup, startup, backup, running config in case of certain event. This is the alerting and actioning part of WhatsUp Goat. Then the configuration management is also a way to create template library and VLAN management, as we said before, so that you can use the WhatsUp Goat part, which shows you which are your VLANs, where they are configured, and which are the devices and ports where they are going through. If you need to do any change, you can use the configuration management predefined libraries, scripts, and available options so that you can do the change. You can monitor the change, so you can be alerted whenever a change happened, and then you can use the reporting part in order to see which change on which device, where exactly has happened. From a security perspective, configuration management covers the entire network infrastructure, from the monitoring part, then keeping a backup, being able to roll back directly from within WhatsUp Goat interface, auditing for policy compliance, and keeping a track of the configuration changes that occurs on the entire network. Any script can be applied per device. So if I need to go on a single device and pick up a switch and apply the script, I can do it directly, or I can pick up an entire network portion and group of devices where I need to do my changes. Then I can do it from within the WhatsUp Go interface. It is also possible to be integrated with external TFTP or SFTP server so that I can also push from within the outside different configurations if I need that. Thank you very much, and I will open the floor for questions or comments if you have them.
And okay, I will start with the first one. I see in the chat we have different questions. So can we give the archive storage? I saw that question before while we were doing the demo. So yes, totally, you can give the archive storage destination path. You can choose whether this to be on the WhatsUp Go server itself, whether this to be an external storage destination, totally supported. We can follow up to, first of all, to showcase how to do that or to send you additional information. You can also, if you are a WhatsUp Go user, within the WhatsApp Go interface, under your username, you will see the help option. And then when you expand that, it's a direct access. There are many shortcuts to tips and tricks for the WhatsApp Go documentation. Also there you can find it, but after that we will follow up exactly with how to configure that. Totally yes, you can give the archive storage a destination path. So going to the next one, when doing a restore, what happens when you get the error no communication with the device was recorded? So that's something that is for troubleshooting. So first of all, the options are you can be notified. If we are looking for an answer from the perspective of, okay, we are doing backups and we are using configuration management for doing the backups, but then what happens when the devices are unreachable or not responding in that moment, so the backup fails? So the notification part of WhatsUp Go, the alerting, alerts and actions like engine is available for the configuration management. So what you have with the devices availability, like interfaces up and down, is what happens if an interface is down. So WhatsUp Go acts, WhatsUp Go is a proactive system, so it is sending you a notification or it is doing another type of action depending on your policies, depending on your needs, to notify you, look, that this has happened there. And together with that, it records that in dedicated log. So you have task log within the configuration management. So first of all, it will notify you that this is happening. Second of all, it will keep a record of that this has happened, and you will see an error message and details of the error, why a communication error, and at least you can be able to troubleshoot. And then comes the analysis of the like, let's call it incident or issue with the communication of the device. This is what the system is dedicated to, monitoring the infrastructure. So no communication with the device means that you will have from another perspective, you will have notification for a device down or an interface down or something else. So first, I hope that this answers the question, but this is something that can happen. And when this happens, WhatsUp Go acts like, first of all, it notifies you, it shows you visually on the interface that something is happening and device is not responding. But then from the configuration management side, it will send you a notification that the task for that device is failing, and also it will have it in the task log. Can we back up Meraki and other non-standard Cisco devices? Yes, Meraki is a family of devices that we support. Configuration management is not vendor specific. We have the scripting library where you have the option to import also custom scripts. So you can modify the existing one and apply them to single device or group of devices, but you can also directly apply. It's a simple TXT file. You put your scripts, you apply them to the configuration management script library, and then they are ready to be used. You can apply them on whichever part of the infrastructure you might have. You have, when you upload a script, you have also a debug option within the script library, so you can also check the script. So whenever might be the changes in time, Cisco may update the code of the devices. Some strings may change. You have a debug option that will like guide you through if the script is working. You can test it, and then you can see whether you should be adding something, and so on. Other vendors, I hope that I have answered that, but I will say again, WhatsUp Gold in whole, in the entire system, network monitoring system, which is WhatsUp Gold, is vendorless. So we don't we don't have a list with supported vendors, because we use the industry standard protocols for the monitoring, so all the SNMP versions. And then for the configuration management, we need SSH or Telnet in order to be able to run the scripts. So pretty much any vendor, and I think that all the vendors support the industry standard protocol. So that's why we call our system vendorless. So now, how we can keep OT devices data configuration? So you have like template library where you can have it. Then you have the archive library. So one thing is, you can have this, and you have it already within the different libraries and archive libraries within WhatsUp Gold. Then probably it's a question of how much time you want to keep it, because it's a matter of configuration. Also, this is a matter of configuration. You can choose the timing. This will be something to consider, because more data, more space. So that's a matter of calculating what are the needs, what are your use cases, and when you decide how much time you want to keep the data, so how much space do you have, or how much space do you willing to have to keep the data. Okay, is there CIS compliance? Can this tell us end of life and end of service, network devices and firmware vulnerabilities? Does the network map? Okay, the first one is that one. So end of life and end of service information. Okay, so from that perspective, not really. The truth is that we have a huge inventory portion within WhatsUp Gold. So inventory is totally populated as firmware versions, all the software installed, software updates. It can tell you when and on which device what has been installed, which is the firmware version, object IDs, and so on and so on. But it is not exactly monitoring. I understand what you mean by end of life and end of service monitoring. This is still not part of the configuration management. For now, you can check the firmware, you can check the software installed, you can check anything about the devices. You have also a portion where you can see all the subnets and VLANs and so on, and what's configured where, and which devices are part of that subnet or that VLAN. But end of service and end of life, hoping that we will see it in some of the next versions. Do the network map show port connections between devices with this add-on? Even without this add-on, it is showing that. So WhatsUp Goat, after the installation, the first thing that it creates is a network map for the entire infrastructure. So whether you have a pure layer 2 infrastructure, switching and routing, or you have switching, routing, some servers to monitor, and then you have maybe a virtual machines, and then a cloud portal, Azure or Amazon, WhatsUp Goat will discover them, and then it builds a linking between the devices. It is also makes a difference between a virtual link, between a Wi-Fi infrastructure. So the entire infrastructure is discovered, and then it builds the linking between the devices on a network map. So yes, this is possible with WhatsUp Goat. So I will move to the next question. Does WhatsUp Goat have a cloud solution? Working on it, but still. So the briefest answer will be still no. Working on it. That's the reality for now. Does the configuration support Windows systems? Like servers, it's in regards of the network devices. So it's configuration, backups, and so on. I understand the question. It's not a server management like pure layer 2 switches, routers, network devices, type of maybe controllers, and so on. But it's not about servers. So if you need to take like snapshot of a Windows server, there is another option of WhatsUp Goat that can do that for you, depending on its virtual machine. There's one approach, and if it's a physical machine, another approach, but it's not the configuration management. So WhatsUp Goat can do a really huge amount of work of monitoring and backing up the entire infrastructure, but precisely this add-on, the configuration management, is focused on the network devices. So that means switching and routing part and not servers. Thank you for that question. It's a really, really good one. So is there a free trial of configuration management also up here? Yes, it is. As WhatsUp Goat has also a WhatsUp Goat trial download link where you can try the entire solution with all its add-ons, because configuration management is just one of them. Then we have the application monitoring, we have the network traffic analysis, we have the virtual, many more options within the WhatsUp Goat solution. So configuration management is only one of those. We have also a log management part where you can, in the log management, for example, you can collect not only syslog, but you can also collect event log from the Windows machine. So give it a try. It's a really flexible solution. It's more than network monitoring solution. It can cover the entire need of something that keeps an eye on an infrastructure and also manages what is needed. Can we enable SNMP for discovered devices? Surely SNMP should be enabled in order for WhatsUp Goat to discover the devices and to give you all the details, but you can do it also with the configuration management. You can change many of the configurations. So you can, like, if you are adding a device and you need to change some of the configurations, you can use the WhatsUp Goat interface. Just connect the device, apply the template you have created, and then you can modify SNMP community strings. You can modify pretty much anything on a configuration level. What's the retention time for the archives and restoring? I mentioned that you can specify the retention time. Is up to you, and it's up to how much space do you have for the archives. And is there an SMS alert feature? Yes, it is. We have an SMS option for the alert center. So yes, we have it. It's you need SMS gateway. Okay, another question just popping up. Do you have any tip special features for device map? Yes, so the biggest tip that I can give for the device map is before the discovery, so SNMP enabled on the devices, community string created, and populate the credentials library before the discovery. So if you have enabled an SNMP on the devices, you have created your community string, there is a discovery best practices. We have a discovery best practices page where exactly is specified which are, there are a few steps, but most important one is as simple as possible, but it's really what makes the difference in the linking creation, and it's populate all the credentials, because this is what WhatsUp Go uses in order to understand which device to which other device is connected and to make the decision. Because you have many interfaces, you might have many IP interfaces on the same device, you might have sub interfaces, the network can be hybrid or whatsoever the case is. So WhatsUp Gold has entire engine dedicated to the discovery and dedicated to being able to decide which device to which other device is connected and build the links for you. So what it needs is populating the credentials library, and then when you run the discovery, just check use all current and future credentials and let WhatsUp Gold use the entire library so it can connect to the device, it can read the configuration for the routing devices, it will look into the routing table, it will read the ARC cache of the devices, and then this way the algorithm that decides which device to which other device is connected and builds really the links will work in the best way, and you will have the map created. It's a matter of how much time, so you will have the map created faster and accurate. But check our website also, there is a tips and trick dedicated to the discovery and the map creation, so you can find it within the WhatsUp Go page. Thank you also for that question. It's really thank you for all the questions. They were really useful, and I hope that are useful for everyone, the questions and the answers. And this is also something for the map that we really see a lot, and it's not a complicated thing, but it makes a difference. So populate your libraries with all the type of credentials that you are going to use for the monitoring, and WhatsUp Go will do the job for you. And this was the last one. If someone needs to ask something more, feel free to type it. And also feel free to reach to us. We will follow up this session with more information and the presentation also, so you can check any of our WhatsUp Go connected web pages where, as I said, we try to keep accurate tips and tricks. We try to give as much information as possible, but not like 1 hour of too many things to give you brief advices. There are many videos coming up. Okay, another question: is there a way to import may of services into the monitor? Import services into the monitors if they are, so if we are speaking about services like network services and you want to monitor, I don't know, like different ports, or you want to monitor for different protocols like port 20, okay, yeah, so port 22 and 23 or something like that, you mean? If this is, yes, you can do it. You can do it per interface or per device, and it's part of the monitors, like it's part of the active monitors options. I will put a note for you, and we will follow up after that. Okay, I'm putting the note so we can follow up and send you an information how to do that. But yes, if you are talking for that services, yes, you can, and you can monitor for those also. Okay, so these are networkings. I will read that again. So you think you have more than 1,000 services to monitor and want to insert them. Okay, so these are all, we are talking about 1,000 network services, right? If we are talking about 1,000 network services, yes, for sure you can. The advantage of WhatsUp Goat compared to many other good solutions, because we are in a market that is very competitive. There are many good solutions out there, but we are yes, we are planning to do like dedicated one-on-one sessions, but dedicated to that exact subject. So I'm answering to the question of whether the services can be added and can we show this. So yes, we will contact you and we will follow up with that if you are okay. And now I can say that the difference between WhatsUp Goat and many solutions is that we are flexible in adding monitors per device. So having in mind that the system is licensed per device, you can monitor 1,000 services on a single device. That's also possible. The only thing that you need always to keep in mind is the size of the database. That's the thing that you should consider, nothing else. From WhatsUp Gold perspective, you can totally. And yes, I'm putting a note, so we will follow up with showcasing that. If okay, thank you too. It's another really good point. It's a good point. Okay, so another question. I want to create a script for the Hirschman switch, and I've already created the idea for new features to be included, but I'm creating my script to back it up, and I'm getting stuck at the point where I can't list the running config because of the more to list the running config. Which string should I use? So okay, that will be also to follow up. I am also taking a note for that question. Okay, and let's see. Please leave your contacts so we can follow up after that session, because in order for any like precise help in that matter, we need to see the precise script or exactly the content, so that we can be more helpful and more useful. Okay, so I think that we've managed to answer the questions that were coming into the chat. Please feel free to contact us after the session if you have more questions or comments, or if you need more whatever considerations you might have. So we will follow up the session with more information, and for whoever of you I have taken notes, needs a follow-up and one or a demo session of how to configure something, or additional information, we will sending those following up the webinar. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the participation. We appreciate that, and have a great week ahead.